everyone. This is Sarah Berman, and you are watching Practically Writing. Now, I have to apologize because I know I said I wouldn't do it again, but I am late again. And I have a really good reason for it. We had a house guest, and that situation quickly turned into a huge, unbelievable, what the heck drama that ended in threats of police being called and people running away and all kinds of things. So that was fun to live through, and I did not really feel that in the midst of all that it would be ideal for me to sit down and try and present myself in a professional type of way, or any kind of way, like even, remotely having my shit together kind of way. None of that was going to work. So I'm actually recording 2 videos today. Yay! Goody for you. So let's get the ball rolling on that. The first video today is going to be how to write dramatic tension. Talk about an appropriate topic, huh? So we're going to be talking a little bit about how the pacing works and how to make the dramatic tension really evoke that emotion that you're wanting to get, so that people are like turning the page. That's what we want. On to your hats. Here we go. As usual, I will have some announcements at the end of the show. So let's get started. The first thing to know about dramatic tension is it is about the emotions you're evoking with your words. The thing is, I can never, ever, ever force you to read words faster. I can't do that. You read words. That's all I'm doing. I'm putting words on a page. It doesn't matter if they're boring words and you're slogging through them. It doesn't matter if they're exciting words and you're like, going through. The only thing I can control are the words that I'm using. And I can use those words in an attempt to evoke an emotional response, which creates the tension within you. That is as simple and as tricky as it sounds, really. One of the best ways to do this is to drop little hints. So you don't want to just explain things necessarily. You want to explain just enough for the reader to keep reading. And that means that you might hint at this thing that somebody's dealing with. And then you might hint that this thing has to do with their kid. And then you might hint that this thing has to do with their kid being in danger. So you stretch that out throughout the entirety of that plot arc in order to make it as exciting as possible. Now, this is where you'll want to have secondary or beta readers come in, because while it may sound good in your head and even when you read it on the screen, it is always important to know if that tension is translating to other readers. So even if you can only get a few people to go, oh my gosh, or any feedback on that is great, because it is really hard to know for certain that you've nailed that dramatic tension. Now, I mentioned that we were going to be talking a little bit about pacing. And pacing is an odd thing, because obviously your pacing changes throughout the story. Sometimes it's relaxed, and sometimes it's tense and chaotic and all over the place and stuff like that. But it's still just words on a page. So how does that work? Well, the words are either relaxed or action-based. The easiest way to describe this is, if you have time as the narrator to describe a room, then it's more relaxed. If you barely have time to describe the things that are absolutely pertinent to the action that is going on right then things are are chaotic. That's why it's so important to, if you are coming upon a scene where you're going to have a lot of action, make sure you set that scene as thoroughly as you need to before the action starts. Because once people start punching and choking each other, you're not going to be like, there were firelight, shadows flickering on the wall from the sconces as the people moved around. No, you want that to have already been set. You want that particular image to have already been put into people's heads, not thrown in the middle of, Fred's left hook. So the way you increase pacing is you increase how fast things are happening. You spend less time on descriptions of environment and more time on descriptions of acts. Increasing dramatic tension can be a lot easier if you have already established a close point of view. So if your POV is first person, that works really well for tension. That is why so many detective noir novels are in first person. You're already close. There's one person and you only get to know what they know, but you also get to know how they feel about it. And really pulling in the physical and emotional descriptions of what is going on is going to increase the emotional tension. So you don't just want to say that, it seemed hopeless. You want Sharky the shark felt the roiling in his stomach as he realized there was no way out. Slight difference between the two. You are bringing in the physical actions. Like, we've all been so nervous that our stomach has roiled. We know what that feels like. We understand the physical effects of strong emotions. And by bringing that in with a close POV, you're really imbibing the situation with that tension, because it's not just, oh, I felt helpless. No, it's like, I felt so out of control and so scared and so nervous that I was about to puke up a dump truck. Don't ask how the dump truck got in there. Just keep moving. We understand those feelings. We understand what those feelings mean. We understand exactly how nervous somebody has to be to feel like they're going to vomit. We get that. And by bringing that in, it really taps into those memories that we have of times when we felt that way. And it brings it home, and it brings it personal, and it brings it into the reader's mind like a memory. Yeah, visceral. So let's talk about some times when it is appropriate and inappropriate to bring in more dramatic tension. You want the greatest dramatic tension to happen during the climax, and you want it to essentially build up to that. Not in a steady manner, though. It's like mountain climbing. You're slowly going upwards, but every now and again, you sit down and rest. Or, stop for a breather, or take a picture, or, whatever. You don't just keep climbing the mountain, robotically. You pause, you take a breather. Sometimes you even go back down to go around stuff. That is what your plot journey should be like, climbing a mountain. So you want things to start out fairly, you're establishing who these people are, what they're doing, why they're doing it. You're doing a lot of background information. This is where the majority of your world building comes in, right at the beginning. You are setting the scene for the rest of the story. Yes, you've thrown in this little tidbit of tension, and that's great. You want just enough tension to keep the reader's attention. Tension for attention. When you are putting in dramatic tension, you want it during fight scenes, you want it during action scenes, you want it during scenes where you want the emotions to be running high. And you know what those scenes are. They're the scenes that have the dramatic music in movies, right? Dun, 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 dun. Those are the scenes you want dramatic tension. Those are the scenes that you want to narrow your focus so that you are doing just the words for the actions. Everything else has, it's just like when you're in an actual fight, you know, like your world just kind of, whoom, you focus on this one thing that you have to get through. Fight or flight. We're going to fight. Maybe we'll flight. Could go either way. But that's what you want the reader to feel as well. Those are the situations that you want that dramatic tension to be in. Really, the best way to bring in a good contrast of dramatic tension is to precede situations with high dramatic tension with a fairly relaxed kind of situation. Maybe not completely tension free, but the tension needs to build very, very slowly and then spike. And that, ooh, that's nice. You want to be able to see those contrasts in your writing. You want to have those periods of almost relaxation and non-tension, and really draw out the descriptions during those times. Make sure, have a lot of dialogue that is, it can have serious topics, but maybe it's not 100% serious. People throwing jokes around. There's a little banter, a little bit of snark, some sass. Everybody loves some sass. And then, all of a sudden, drama! Now, I'm going to be talking in the future about how to write fight scenes in particular, so catch that episode to get more deets on how to really get into that. But, that's the thing. You want to evoke the emotions, you want to evoke the physical feelings of the emotions, you want to build it steadily throughout the story, but not consistently. You want it to have a little bit of stagger, take some breathers, do some backtracking, that kind of thing. And you want it to focus on the action sequences for dramatic tension. And not just things where people are running or fighting, but also things where people are confronting each other, and situations where people are revealing things. Those are also good action sequences. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment down below. Life is good. Ring the bell. Subscribe. Do all the fun things. Make sure that you follow my channel if you like these videos. Catch all of my links below. And let's do some announcements. Life has not stopped during these last 4 weeks. So I have been a busy author regardless. I have finished Carrier, which is the first of 3 short stories that I'm writing through the rest of the year for anthologies. A Time and a Place, which is the prequel to the Magus Chronicles, has been released as part of Counterclockwise, a time travel anthology put together by Fiction Atlas. Great set of authors, great set of stories, and I highly recommend you pick it up. I did in fact get my contract for The Chains That Bind, book 3 of the Runespells series. You can still get books 1 and 2 on Amazon. That's Too Wyrd and Fluffy Bunny. You can also pick up the rest of my books all on Amazon. I am looking into moving some things, so keep an eye out for those announcements and that progress, and we'll see how it goes. There could be hardback covers involved. I have added a couple of new pieces of swag to my swag store, including a rather interesting coffee cup and whiskey flask. So check those out. All of my links are below. I have done the 3rd quarterly swag giveaway for my Patreon patrons. So check that out. As little as $1 a month will get you entered into this giveaway, and there are some sweet prizes. I don't know what that was. Ignore that. You can also join me in my hashtag 13 and 24 challenge. That is 13 publications in 24 months. I have a forum set up on my website, authorgoddess.com, so you can join in the fun there, whether you want to just crank out a little short story or join me for the entire 24 months, whatever your heart desires. You can do that. You can also keep up on my progress and have some fun with other authors as well. So check it out. Links are all below. Thank you for joining me. I am recording another video here in a few minutes. Join me again next time. Thanks. That is what your plot journey should be like. Climbing a mountain. And then at the end, they fall off a cliff and die. Dun, 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 dun. The tension needs to build very, very slowly and then spike. And that, ooh, that's nice. That is a good, oh yeah. That's going to be my new motto. Links are below. I shouldn't say that in public.